Well, welcome back. I'm Angie Beto, and we're continuing our series, 2009 Your Best Year Ever, and also continuing our conversation with Cindy Kleckner, who's a registered licensed dietitian with the Cooper Aerobics Center. Welcome back, and we're
Thanks,
glad
Angie.
you're continuing on. So we were talking about how important having a balanced diet is,
Right.
and how important it is to think about the number of calories we're putting out versus what we're taking in, and to plan, because
Right.
you said your philosophy is
Failing to plan is planning to fail.
Okay.
And whether it's eating right, planning to exercise, or even grocery shopping or cooking.
That's a big one.
You know.
Right.
So, but the important thing is to learn how to eat large. And that is really getting the most bang for your buck when it comes to nutrition. So you have to understand that protein's major function is building and repairing tissue. So we don't have to spend a lot of our calorie intake on protein. We do need it. We do need that as a part of the balance. But we also need a good portion of the calories coming from complex carbohydrates, wholesome complex carbohydrates like whole grains, brown rice.
So when you said before if we're trying to lose weight, to watch our starches, but what you're really saying is watch the starches that are full of sugar or the processed starches, but the whole grains are very important.
Right,
still.
but you can still go over. You can still eat too much of the good thing.
Okay.
But what I mean by eating large is understand where the calories are really coming from. You know, when you're talking about fruits and vegetables, you can eat a bushel of those. And honestly, I think it's so important to just learn how to prepare them so that you can...
They taste good.
Yeah, make them taste good. Learn how to cook them so that you can eat a larger percentage of the color in your diet. And that's really the idea, because most people say, I get hungry, and then how do I handle this?
Right.
Well, it's because they don't really understand the proportion of calories that they're getting in their diet. So if you do this, like for instance, this is a cup of broccoli, and this is only 50 calories.
Wow. So you could have a whole huge plate of that as opposed to one little cookie, probably.
Exactly. But obviously, there's room for cookie. And my resolve is, if you resolve to eat 80% of if you're good 80% of the time, you can splurge 20% of the time.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, because when you diet, you go off a diet. But our approach is moderation through liberation. Okay? It's not deprivation, but it's liberation through moderation.
Okay, so let's just follow up a little bit more. We started to talk about the role exercise plays in losing weight. So what do you think would be a good suggestion for people who are, let's say they've been fairly active, but they need to up that a little bit? What kind of plan would be a good plan for them to begin with?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to get with a trainer so that you really understand, that you're with somebody who really understands your needs.
Sure, plus motivation.
Exactly. Because that's a whole big part of this whole improving your lifestyle and your health habits, is really aligning yourself with people who are going to be your support system.
Okay.
So, find somebody that really knows what they're talking about in terms of weight and, in terms of exercise. And then also making sure that you vary it.
Okay.
Because your body is a fine-tuned machine and it gets used to whatever you're doing. So, like for myself, I've been a walker my whole life. I have to do a whole lot more to get the results at my age because my body's very used to that.
So if you were used to walking 3 miles a day, let's say, you might have to really almost double that to get a bigger result?
Exactly.
Okay.
Either do that or do something different, like sprint. Like what I do around my neighborhood is I will walk between the fire hydrants, and then between the next 2 fire hydrants I'll sprint. So that way you're, expending a few more calories, you're changing it up a little bit, and then you can't do it without the importance of talking about weight training or strength training as well.
So that has to be a part of it.
Most definitely.
Okay.
Because with the aging process, we lose about 3% of our muscle tone every decade. So what happens is muscle is very active tissue that helps us burn calories very efficiently. So when we start losing muscle, we're no longer burning those calories. So it's important to do strength training so that you preserve the muscle and maybe even build a little bit of muscle. muscle.
Okay.
And that'll help your body burn up those calories.
So, Cindy, if I was to come and see you and make an appointment to see you, we would talk about the food choices, some of which obviously you've shown us.
Right.
And do you then work with the trainers over at the aerobics center so that we're all on the same page, or what is that process like?
Most definitely. We all work together. We also have a clinical psychologist, so we
okay.
can work with the psychological components as well.
Oh, interesting.
And
so if we're eating for emotional reasons or because of stress.
Exactly.
Okay.
We have that support as well. But most definitely, you would come to me and we would do an assessment.
Okay.
And at the same time, you would work with the trainer in doing an assessment.
Okay.
They would set you up on a program, and we would work together. One of the most important things when you're trying to keep your health habits is to monitor what you're doing. So keeping a food record, keeping an exercise log is so vital. In fact, one of the things I wanted to mention was there is the largest prospective study that's ever been done is called the National Weight Control Registry.
Oh.
And it's a little arm of the CDC, the
Okay.
Center for Disease Control. And they actually monitor people that have lost a significant amount of weight and have kept it off for a significant amount of time.
Okay.
And they have actually listed on their website the characteristics of people that are most likely to keep the weight off. And that's one of the number one things, is keeping you, monitor your intake, monitor your exercise.
So this is something that should be a part of our life all the time.
Most definitely.
Not just during those, what we think of as maybe we need to diet for 6 weeks or whatever.
Right.
That's part of the life change you mentioned.
Well, it helps you keep, in the forefront what your goals are.
Awareness.
Yes, it's
Sure.
awareness. It really is, and it's really important to monitor. You can go through a whole day just by, like around the holidays, you go to a party and you take tidbits of this and little bites of that. Before you know it, you've consumed a whole lot of calories, and many people are not aware of what they're doing. If you sit down, plan a meal, have a nice meal, sit while you're eating, don't multitask. We're too
Guilty.
busy. Right. We're too busy eating in the car. We have the television on. It just gets really out of hand, so we're not really sure what we're taking in.
So, in summary, if there was one change that we could make going forward, what do you think that change, what would you recommend?
One change. I think probably one of the most important things is plan.
Okay.
I think it's important to set realistic goals. I know I'm expanding on just the one, but I think there's more than one. I think it's establishing a goal and making a commitment to that goal, and then trying to be as consistent as you can. It's like learning a new sport.
Yes.
Becoming better at tennis or golf. You have to be consistent. And it's the same thing with eating. We've developed unhealthy eating habits over the years, then we need to rein it in and try to be more consistent with the program that we choose.
So it's almost like if you're an athlete and you are going to football practice, for example, or tennis practice, or you're going to the game but you've never practiced, you're not going to be able to develop that consistency that you need. So I guess that could apply to this as well.
Right. And the last point I like to make is that weight loss, if that's your goal, should really be a byproduct of the journey of making better lifetime choices.
So our goal should really be to be healthy instead. Well, thank you so much. I think this has been really informative. I feel a little bit better about my direction, so hopefully this has been informative to all of you, and thank you for joining us.